So, good article from Zero Hedge. This, again, it goes back to the club rigging the price down of oil through the COMEX market. Has nothing to do with, boy, there's a lot of tankers in the ocean with oil and they have nowhere to go and they're turning around, and it's all nonsense. Whatever the price of oil is set every single day by these paper futures and options contracts on the COMEX market. It is the New York Stock Exchange little sister. It's the same type of thing. The club controls the price of everything through these paper derivatives contracts. Plain and simple. So we are bankrupting the whole world on purpose to bring in the new world order currency. We're going to go down. Everybody's going to go down, but they're going to go down first. Which is why the US dollar is so strong right now, while the whole world's currencies are epic failures. It doesn't matter if you look at the euro, the Canadian dollar, oh my God. Hand me a barf bag on that one. Oh, not because of the dollar. I was just looking at a picture of Hillary Clinton. Sorry about that. But it says here, time to panic, Zero Hedge. Nigeria begs the club, World Bank, for massive loan as dollar reserves dry up. Having urged don't panic just 4 short months ago, it appears Nigeria just did just that as the global dollar short squeeze forces the 8-month-old government of President Muhammadu Buhari to beg the club's World Bank and African Development Bank for $3.5 billion in emergency loans to help fund a $15 billion deficit in a budget heavy on public spending amid collapsing oil revenues. Keyword or words, 15 billion deficit in a budget heavy with public spending. Let's go to Google. Google, public spending. Thanks, Google. Wikipedia. Public. Public expenditure is spending made by the government of a country on collective needs and wants such as pension, provision, infrastructure, etc. Until the 19th century, public expenditure was limited by laissez-faire philosophies, believed that money left in private hands could bring better returns. Public spending, 15 billion shortfall, but we're only asking for $3.5 billion. So they're still missing billions in that budget for public spending, but they only want $3.5 billion. And it's a loan, which means World Bank, IMF, got you covered. We'll give you that loan. Watch how this goes. I'll call it now. Easy. A monkey could call this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do it so the monkey doesn't have to. $3.5 billion loan. We'll sign whatever you want, whatever you want, World Bank. We need it. It's my money and we need it now, says J.G. Wentworth. Can't pay it back. We're struggling. Oil revenues killed us. We signed on the dotted line that if we couldn't pay this back, your club members would come into our area and pick and choose resources and things that they want in exchange for us defaulting on that loan. We'll sign anything. So the question is this new fella, what's his name? Muhammadu Buhari? Was he put in place because the club knew this was going to happen in the near future? And they knew this guy would come begging for a loan? And they already know he'll sign on the dotted line to any agreement? And they already know he's not going to be able to pay the money back? And the World Bank already knows it doesn't matter that they can't pay it back because the money that the World Bank gets it gets from countries like the United States and our buddies for free. Some of it. So who cares if it's not paid back? It's not our money. But when we go and get those resources over there, that's ours. Ours is in the clubs, the IMF and the World Bank, not the United States and these other countries, pals of ours, that gave the World Bank and set them up, because we even lend them money sometimes. And then they go and do the dirty work. And then pay us back pennies on the dollar compared to what they pulled in. But we've also given them money. So, another one bites the dust due to oil collapsing. The same oil prices that we've been rigging. We, as in the club in America. So they're asking for $3.5 billion emergency loans to help fund a $15 billion deficit in a budget heavy on public spending amid collapsing oil revenues. Just as Zero Hedge warned in December, the dollar shortage has arrived. Perhaps now is time to panic after all. In September, Nigerian central bank governor Godwin Emefiele ruled out a naira, is that their currency? Naira devaluation on Thursday, and told people not to panic about a government order which risks draining billions of dollars from the financial system. And no, you don't need to go and get precious metals, because again, before the monkey calls it, Jason will call it again, like I did before, and showed you. Pretty much any country on the face of the earth going out and buying gold and silver right now, as we've had $14 silver for so long and $1,100 gold, and their currency, depending on which country you're looking at, ranges from, oh my God, that's expensive, to Jesus Christ, it's devastating. I can't believe the price of gold and silver right now when converted to US dollars so that I can get it in my country's currency when I have to convert that from US dollars. The only people on the face of the earth right now that don't see that and aren't experiencing that yet are you and I. Because we live in the Roman Empire, the club's country of choice right now. They're gutting it as we speak, and they will throw away the carcass when they're done. But while they're doing their deeds, they are still using our country, our power, our financial power, military power, you name it, while they can. And then there'll be another superpower that arises after the U.S. is gone, in its current state, I should say. And they'll do the same thing over there. Rinse and repeat. So we're kind of lucky that we live in America right now. And at the same time, we're the ones causing all the problems. So some people may be like, oh, well, I don't care what happens. As long as it don't happen here, I'm fine with it. Not the right attitude. Not the right attitude at all. Because the old saying, what goes around comes around, but comes around harder. Got a sneaky suspicion that that's coming. Won't be today, won't be tomorrow, won't be next week, won't be next month. But you can be rest assured it's coming. And you have only one thing to prepare for that with. Two things, technically. Some guns and ammo, just in case things get a little chaotic outside. And people are breaking in left and right to get anything they can because something has collapsed in the financial system and people are devastated. And precious metals. So that you don't have to feel the pain that the whole damn world is feeling right now. And the party is just barely getting started, even for them. Do you have any idea how bad the devaluations are going to be when compared to the US dollar? It's just started. So Canadian, 70 cents to our dollar and all that junk. Can you imagine? I mean, what if that goes to 30 cents, 40 cents? Could you imagine what gold and silver is going to cost you in Canada? It didn't change. It's still 1 ounce. It's a 1 ounce coin. Didn't change at all. The only thing that changed was the paper fiat currency price of it. And again, you people in America, myself included, we're lucky. You should be backing up the dump truck and loading it with as much precious metals as you possibly can while you can with these prices. So let me continue on with this article. So again, in September, Nigerian central bank governor ruled out a devaluation on Thursday and told people not to panic about a government order which risks draining billions of dollars from the financial system. Where did I hear that one before? Oh, that's right. Argentina? Yeah, rings a bell. Venezuela? Yeah, don't worry about it. Everything's fine. And then it's not fine. In an interview with Reuters, he said he was ready to inject liquidity if needed into the interbank market. Now, that's an interesting statement, which dried up this week following the directive to government departments to move their funds from commercial banks into a Treasury single account at the central bank. So, ready to inject liquidity if needed into the interbank market. The interbank lending rate, which is the rate banks charge to lend to each other, Lindsey Williams said a long time ago, not real long ago, a couple years back, 3 years, 2, 3 years ago. Actually, I think it was in 2013. They were going to use that rate to cause the derivatives collapse across the world because most derivatives are tied to interest rates. And they did a test on a Friday. He said when. I watched it. Monday came. He said, don't worry about it. They'll put it back to normal on Monday. I read the financial news. Oh my God, if Monday comes, it's going to be a bloodbath. He said, don't sweat it. It'll be back to normal. Monday came. The rate went back to where it was. No problem. China lost $1 billion over the weekend. That was it. He said that was the tool they were going to use. So I'm seeing this, and that just rang a bell. He says the policy is part of the new President Muhammadu Buhari's drive to fight corruption, but analysts say it could suck up as much as 10% of banking sector deposits in Africa's biggest economy, playing havoc with banks' liquidity ratios. With global oil prices tumbling, banks and companies are already struggling with the consequences of a dive of Nigeria's energy revenues that has hit their currency and triggered flows of capital out of the country. Then, my favorite, JP Morgan kicked Nigeria out of its influential emerging markets bond index last week due to restrictions that the central bank imposed on the currency market to support the naira, which is their currency, and preserve its foreign exchange reserves. So you kicked out JP Morgan last week, and JP Morgan said, now you're going to beg us for a loan we know you can't pay back. And I understand, I did say the World Bank, and now I'm talking about JP Morgan, but it's the same club. Since taking office in May, Buhari has vowed to rein in Nigeria's dependency on oil exports, which account for 90% of foreign currency earnings. However, he has faced criticism from investors for failing to appoint a cabinet yet or outline concrete policies. That's because there isn't going to be any concrete policies. The club has pressed the go button. And when the club presses the go button, there ain't nothing Nigeria or anybody's going to do about it. I'm sorry, it's too late. You can see Russia, China, India, they're preparing. They're getting their precious metals ready. But even China is being devastated right now. So, it says the country's financial buffers are also eroding. The central bank's foreign exchange reserves have nearly halved to $28.2 billion from a peak of almost $50 billion just a few years ago. A rainy day fund that has $22 billion in it at the time of the 2008-2009 global financial crisis now has a balance of $2.3 billion. I think we all agree that Nigeria is facing significant external and fiscal accounts challenges from the sharp fall in oil prices, as of course are all oil exporters. Jean Leon, the IMF's representative in Nigeria, told the Financial Times. Oh, you can bet he did. But he added that Nigeria was not in immediate need of an IMF program. We are not in that space at all, he says. Oh, 2 minutes later, now we are. Guarantee you. That's why the World Bank is there. The new government is also facing questions about its handling of the economy. Capital controls introduced last year have weighed on growth, and the IMF has called for Mr. Buhari to pursue alternatives. Like let us lend you some money and make sure you sign the dotted line where it says we will privatize everything that you have here that we want if you can't pay this loan back. That is the IMF's speciality. The central bank introduced the first controls before Mr. Buhari took office last May, but many new measures have been imposed since, and the president has repeatedly voiced his support for them. During a January visit, one of my other favorite people, Christine Lagarde, the IMF's managing director, urged the government to allow their currency to trade more freely so that it could help absorb economic shocks. Whatever they tell you, just any country heads happen to be listening to my videos, which means 0 of you, just in case. Anything that the IMF, the United States, the Western world, the World Bank, that I mentioned, the IMF, says to you, you do the opposite. Okay? Just going to throw that out there. Little bonus for you guys. You don't have to pay me anything. Don't need to put me on salary. Financial advisor. No need. Just take my advice. But Mr. Buhari and his government are likely to resist a full IMF rescue program. Oh, so maybe Mr. Buhari knows better after all. Maybe the club didn't put him in power. And he's resisting them. I did see him where he kicked out the whole JP Morgan thing. What was that part again? JP Morgan kicked Nigeria out of its influence on emerging market bond index last week due to restrictions that their central bank imposed on the currency market. They may have a decent guy over there in Nigeria. It says the question is, will the $3.5 billion loan be used to keep social unrest from exploding on the streets or to further attempt to sustain an unsustainable peg? As we previously warned, at Zero Hedge, defending one's currency is a losing game, as not only Argentina most recently, but the Swiss National Bank most infamously will admit. For now, Africa has avoided the hyperinflation monster, the result of an all too predictable scarcity of dollars. However, the countdown is on, and with every passing day that oil prices do not rebound, and they're not going to because we control them on the COMEX market, and this is an agenda, the inevitability of a full-on continental currency collapse with hyperinflation and social unrest to follow becomes increasingly more likely. Worse, Africa is just the start. While the manifestations will differ, the mechanics of the dollar shortage, which we currently quantified in the trillions of dollars, are universal, and should the Fed's rate divergence path with the rest of the world continue pushing the USD even higher, soon this USD shortage will escape the confines of the world's poorest continent and make landfall somewhere where it will be far more difficult to ignore the adverse consequences of the global commodity collapse and the Fed's monetary policy. I cannot agree with that more. All the more reason for you to go out and buy some more precious metals. I'm telling you, I'm trying to just keep a steady flow. Give me some more, give me some more, give me some more. And I do hope, crazy as it sounds, I do hope the club crushes, destroys the price of precious metals just one more time. Club, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, boys, just give us one more shot. Give us like a $4 or $5 an ounce shot so I can go crazy. Okay, could you guys just do that? You could do it. I mean, you could do it. Man, would that be fantastic. I'm not waiting around to see if something like that happens. I will continue to keep buying as much as I can when I can. So that's it. Jason at 4 finally settled into his new house that we're renting. And I'm back in business. Should be doing at least a couple of videos a day now, Monday through Friday, maybe a video or two or on the weekend. I pretty much just erased all the old emails to myself because now they're outdated videos to do. So no shortage of videos for sure. There's tons of news to talk about. So keep on keeping on. I shall. Take care.